All right, it's movie review time again. And I just watched the new Halloween Ends. I actually watched it on Peacock instead of going to the theater to see it, which honestly is the better option of the two because I just paid for the full Peacock subscription. I didn't have to pay for the individual ticket, which ought to give you an idea how I feel about this already. And just to give you heads up, if you're planning on seeing this and you haven't seen it yet and you don't want spoilers, I would stop right now because I'm probably going to spoil the heck out of this. I'm going to go and say this is the third movie in a trilogy that, from my understanding, directly ties into the original Halloween, basically ignoring everything that came after that. I did not see the first of the trilogy, so I picked up last year when Halloween Kills came on Peacock. I watched it then. I did not like that movie. I will tell you this, I almost liked it better than Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends is just a pure disaster. It's worse than Halloween Kills. You know, Halloween Kills, you had Michael featured very prominently, and he did outrageous killings, and it just went over the top. This one, to me, seemed like he was hardly in it at all. Now, this is supposed to be, of course, about him and Laurie and all this, and they end up at the beginning introducing this new guy, which was an interesting way to introduce it, and then he basically becomes the bad guy throughout the whole movie. Michael doesn't really show up again to the very end of it. And of course, him and Laurie have their little tussle and all this stuff. You could have cut everything else out, and that little bit they had with Michael, you would have spent about 5 minutes and the movie would have been done. I don't understand what they were doing. Now, this movie was, in the credits, was credited to 4 writers. Now, I don't know if that meant all 4 of them wrote it at one time or how they do it, but I've always said, if I see a movie that has more than 2 writers credited, it's probably going to be pretty bad. And again, this one was horrible. One of the writers was Danny McBride, was one of the credited writers, which really surprises me how bad this was. The dialogue is chintzy. It is, some of it, I swear, was written by kindergarten students. It was just on that level. It was silly. You know, people complain about The Last Jedi with what they did with Luke Skywalker. I like that. Some people are going to say you're crazy. But I felt like, again, they took Laurie's character and they just did stuff with her that just shouldn't have been done. It was bad. I actually couldn't sit down and watch it in one setting. It took me several times to work through it, which is why I said it was better that I watched it on Peacock instead of having paid the full price. I do not, if you've not seen this, I do not recommend going to the theater. Don't go to matinee, don't go to the theater at all to see it. If you want to see it and you have Peacock, watch it on there. If you don't have Peacock, don't spend the money just to watch this movie. It is just not worth it. So I would skip it. Totally skip it unless you're just desperate to see what happens. It made $41 million in the box office, which is less than what it made last year. And some people are saying is it because it was on streaming, but they released it on streaming the same time with Halloween Kills. I think it's because people went Thursday night previews, and they went Friday, and they realized how bad it was, and word spread. Had nothing to do with Peacock. I just think people realized how bad of a movie this is. So, in another recent review, I said, "Don't worry, darling," was the worst thing that I have seen this year. Well, I have a new replacement for that, and that is Halloween Kills. I'm going to give it a half star out of 5 stars, which is what I gave Don't Worry, Darling, but I'm going to say it is actually worse than that movie.